How's everybody?
What's up, Brandon?
Good.
Hey, Brandon.
Keep me busy.
Hey, John.
Hey, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Good. Excited for another AHRB meeting.
Yay.
This one's a long one too.
Woo!
I'm gonna broadcast and start recording so you can start at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
When is the next meeting, Dan?
The next meeting is August 10th.
August 10th?
Yes.
Ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the architectural review, historical architectural and historical review. Tonight is the July 27th meeting. The next meeting will be held on August 10th. And today on the agenda, the first presentation, the applicant is 9 Hamilton Street, Riverton Square. Do we have the applicants?
Yes, can you raise your hand if you're here? Okay, yeah, I thought.
Okay, so then we start the review.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, John. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, are we leading off the evening?
Yes, you're the first applicant, so go for it.
All right. I think we got our Joanna's here, Frankie's here. Perfect. So I guess I will start. Obviously, we know the application is in for the facade and signage for Rivertown Square, which we're excited to present tonight. The one thing that I wanted to lead off with, and I appreciate the board and everybody's comments as we went through this process. I think Joanna and Frankie put a lot of time and effort to try to incorporate kind of everything that we received through these meetings, and hopefully you guys like what we think to be the end result. The walkthrough was really great, so I thank you for coming and taking that time out of your busy day. So I think it helped us kind of guide some of the changes that we made. The one thing before I introduce Frankie Campione, who's going to kind of walk us through each building and kind of where we ended up, is that we're hoping that by the end of this that we get a favorable outcome so that we can move forward. Time's a little bit pressing for us just because given the time of year, the approvals and how we can implement this design, but also obviously, as you guys know, we do have a tenant that is interested, which we need to pull this off as part of that. So the hopes is that we get a unanimous approval. We recognize that that's not always the case, but I'm gonna let Frankie kind of do the show here and present. And certainly, if there's questions, concerns, or comments, we're happy to address them as we go through this.
Just to clarify the process, tonight, if the board is in April, it's in a consenting the application and everybody's in agreement, this will lead to a referral to the trustees.
Correct. Yes.
And it's for them to approve the application, basically.
Correct.
Good. So let's Your presentation, please.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Jack, thank you for the introductions. And Joanna, I think we have all worked together quite well. Let me share my screen, see if I can do it better than last time. Of course, now it's hopefully you can see the material board. Good? Not good? Good, okay. So real quick, I'll start with the material board real quick, and then we'll go through the sheets page by page. I just wanted to show this first because we did simplify the colors. There was a comment made that there was quite a lot of them, but they seemed very similar and very close. So those have been simplified to just the tones of grays and white and charcoal that you see. There was also a comment made or suggested, I should say, not to use the rosewood color on our longboard. I don't remember why that was, but I think it had to do with if the metal slats are metal, then let's not pretend that they're wood. And so we're in agreement with that. So you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner that all the longboard is now proposed to be a charcoal in tone. With that, I'll go straight to the updated elevations. One of the other suggestions made in general that there was too much white, that the AHRB had preferred the grayer tones, which you'll see added throughout. Although a contradictory comment was also made that the AHRB preferred white to black for solar reflectance and less heat gain. So we did add the gray tones throughout, and black is really limited to accents and fabric awnings also. On this page, you'll see another comment that was made, we'll get to it when we get to signage, was the relocation of the proposed pylon, which was on the ground, has been raised to the second level, basically as a visual block of the outdoor seating and for a little bit better visibility. As a reminder, we are doing all four sides, so the investment is not just front facades or Hollywood stage set, but we are working our way around all four sides of each building. This is building B. Building D has been modified a little bit. I think there was some really good suggestions made by the AHRB last time around. If you recall, the awnings had stripes. The stripes were different sizes on different buildings. Again, we tried to simplify everything. I don't recall, Joanna, maybe you do, if this was the one somebody referred to it as teeth or something like that. And so the cornice has been simplified in its colorway as well. So the idea obviously is that the whites and grays and charcoals carry through the entire center, signifying that is all new and fresh and different than the previous owner and a different aesthetic altogether. The hotel received the most deliberation for us on the last call as well, and then during the walkthrough. We understand the sensitivity to the brick, and there were comments made both ways in favor of and not in favor of painting it. But the suggestion was that if it was to be painted, that the AHRB had preferred gray. We tried tons of options. I think Dino, Joanna, and Jack will attest. We kept sending them elevations after colored elevations after colored elevations. What we're trying to do here is twofold. One is we want the retail to stand out. Currently, it doesn't. It falls to the backdrop of a very monotonous yet warm-toned building. But we want the podium to act as an anchor to the hotel above, yet really announce that there is retail on the lower level. In doing so, we wanted it to be a little bit more grand and majestic. So you can see we favored, again, to paint the brick in a gray tone, but we really accentuated the two-level height of the base of the podium. So the horizontal is different now, but between the first and second floor, in that it's a lighter shade of gray as opposed to the same exact color of the pilasters and the heavy cornice above, thus letting each space feel two level. and allowing the signage to come through, where I think in the existing building, it really feels a little squat by having that horizontal cornice the same color as everything else. So it's very busy. It's sort of like a checkerboard, if you will, or just a grid that you don't know where to look for tenant signage. We think this gives it a much more majestic approach. So in turn, after trying numerous options, we do indeed agree with the AHRB that the gray tone was appropriate here. What you'll see in the next slide to the right is a bit more of a transitional zone as we go from some of the buildings that keep the existing brick, like the Moms on the lower level, versus the hotel where we're proposing gray. So here at the learning experience, what we're going to do, or what we propose to do, is a sponge effect on the brick that gives it a weathered paint look. We've actually done this with Regency centers elsewhere. It was a mock-up and tested. They were a little unsure of it about a year or so ago. They actually love it now. They think it was a great approach, and they were glad we talked them into it. And I think their DC office has been in touch with Jack and Joanna to show them photographs of the existing condition, but it very much will look like what you see here. So it is a hand-applied textured paint that would go over the brick. And what we think it allows is a nice transition from the gray area to the existing that remains. Buddha, we did not have any comments to originally, I think, other than the fact that the underside of the longboard slats would not be the rosewood, as I mentioned before, but everybody seemed to be in agreement. This was essentially well received. No further revisions were made. All seemed to welcome the new signature look and allowing the arches to remain, but yet hidden behind the metal slats at the top of the street. Again, we wrap the sides. And the Ulta building, as I call it, I think Jack calls it the most successful building. Comments here were made that the Chipotle and the AT&T end caps were not proposed to have awnings that currently exist at Ulta and Chop. So those have been added as requested. The mural art that's proposed will be submitted at a later date. The top of the second level building with IM Burger at building JK. Again, this was simplified a little bit, toning down the different colors on the pilasters. On the side of the building, you'll see that the pylon sign has been elevated to the second level. We have the Lombardo's Pizza sign, the Burger I Am sign, and the Sideli tile and stone sign proposed on the building. The idea being that the tenants on the building would have signage on or the tenants in the building would have signage on the building, and then the other tenants would be placed on the pylon. The vertical circulation between the upper level and lower level garage was well received last time. That has not changed, nor has the graphics and painting on the inside, although I think it was well received and welcome to brighten that up. Same with the lower level of the garage, doing what we call super graphics to announce where the elevator and stairs are, etc., versus currently you sort of get lost when you're down there. We've updated the perspective looking back towards Buddha, where mural art would be proposed. Again, that will be submitted at a later date. But the last presentation, the perspective had not been updated. So while we had focused on the mural art, the Buddha itself had not been updated to match the elevations. Now they are. Signage, for the purposes of this drawing, please don't look at what signs or tenant names are there. That is still yet to be determined. They're placeholders at this point. But obviously the importance for Rivertown Square is wayfinding, so that we need to let the shopper know which way to go very quickly as soon as they enter the site, whether they're going immediately to the right to Mom's, straight ahead, or to the left, etc. And then as a reminder, we do not own Chauncey, and so that sign to the right is not ours to control or combine. If you have any influence on them and want to help, that'd be great, but otherwise we have to tackle it on our own. And that the new branding, colors, and theme carry throughout the center. So there's wayfinding proposed in a few locations, and the parking sign on the building, which we've been through before, that has not changed. And in this location, at the main entrance, the comment was made to remove what appeared to be flags, even though they were indeed hard signs and meant to look more like stanchions. The graphic didn't work for AHRB, if I recall. So here you can see a little bit more attention to detail, and that the tenant signs would be on 3 stanchions to the left, 3 stanchions to the right as you enter the site. We also removed, I believe at your request, all the tenant signage that was under the Rivertown Square freestanding letters. The Rivertown Square sign does numerous things in addition to obviously giving us the signature entry. It actually acts as a rail and fence, because currently you could stand on that corner and jump down. It's kind of odd, but there is no rail there. The rail continues left and right, which is upgraded, as you can see in the rendering, left and right. The pylon that's existing would remain, and all the signage that was under here on the corner has been removed as requested. And then there's just some enlarged details of the signage, which we could go through, but I'm sure you have in your package. We chose to keep the crosswalks in keeping with the center. We've discussed it with numerous people. They think it is a fun, exciting way to demarc the crosswalk areas, yet still show that it's clearly a crosswalk with the hard white lines on either side. But we just thought the black and white really was effective in matching the rest of the center. The outdoor seating areas at Mom's, Lombardo's, Buddha, and Burger IM. I think there was a recent comment made, which we did not have the time to make the modification, but we could. Somebody had suggested that the Burger IM seating actually come out further than just in line with the building. And you can see that that is possible to the right here. So if for some reason that was desired, we could actually accommodate that with no problem. And then Mom's is submitting their signage under a separate application, I guess. So it's included here, but really should be omitted from this, and we can omit it from this so that it's not in conflict or contradiction as part of the approval process. And that is really the end of it from where we left off at our last meeting.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Dale, would you like to start the comments?
So I think the reducing the number of colors and sticking mostly to the gray-white palette is very successful. I think that it softens the look of the entire property in some positive ways, and allows signage to be more readable. You can just tell from the image we're looking at right now on screen between the existing condition and the proposed condition that it's a lot more soothing to the eye and not as jarring as what's currently there. So I think it's definitely an improvement overall. I think the treatment at the front of the hotel is successful in that it ties together. It does lift your eye up. It does exactly what you're saying it should do. I also appreciate that you've continued the awning all the way across. I think it unifies the entire front and gives it a really nice promenade feel to it. As far as the wood slat versus the metal slat, I could go either way, honestly, but I understand that if you're keeping in the family of grays, it's nice to have it all consistent. But in general, I think you've listened to and addressed all of our comments. The only comment that I'm still concerned about is that first sign when you come into the complex next to the Chauncey Square sign. It just looks very crowded on that one little piece of site that it just appears that there's a lot going on right there. That I mean, I drive by this all the time, and to be able to, for somebody who's not familiar with the site, to be able to navigate and read this while turning into the center is complicated.
Okay, thank you, Dale. I have to say that I agree with most of the things that Dale mentioned, especially that the unifying look is a successful strategy for a fresh look at the place that managed to, I mean, the old look managed to age faster than the aging of the material, I think. So I agree with the strategy of changing the overall feel and the feeling of the space. My notes are pretty much along the lines of what we've been discussing, which is the Ulta building is very successful, the MOM's successful. I like the idea of the unifying base for the hotel. I think that works. The only thing that I kind of detach too much, or it kind of separates itself too strongly from the existing hotel. But I think if the purpose is to detach, you manage it, it's fine. The arcade works. It's I would like to see more trees eventually, and more landscaping to it, and it will work fine. With decent lighting will work. I'm not, debatable in terms of, it's debatable the color of the white of how how striking is the difference between the old and the new, but it's something that we'll have to live and see. The only two comments I have, which is pretty much along the lines of what Dale says, is the entry sign at the corner is still problematic. I will advise to reconsider that location, because it's an overload of information that it doesn't look good. It's just, unfortunately, the Chauncey Square is there. It's too much too close. If you manage to locate it somewhere else, or different location, or somehow not being there. I don't know if you need it, to tell you the truth, but I will advise not to be there. That's my opinion. And the walkway, it's fun, but it's too much fun. The walkway graphics, I think it's a little cartoonish, and I don't think that I would save the money, actually, personally. I understand maybe one comment or two could do it, but to make it too much, the entire walkways might be too much. Maybe too, what do you call it? Like a park of Disney World Park, which I don't think is the character of the Rivertown Square. But those are the two comments, are minors. The rest is, it's I'm glad that someone is deciding to invest money in this corner and make it more alive. So I welcome all the main the desire to make it more lively. So I wish best of luck on this. Brandon?
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think the pylon sign, like my fellow board members are saying is too much for the area, especially if you flip to the picture of the Rivertown Square sign that really draws your eye to the area. And then what are those? I know they're not flags anymore, but now they're essentially pylon tenant signs in their own right. So if you're trying to draw somebody to turn in or to understand where to go, you may be better served to do that. They're not stopping on the corner, and I don't know from a foot traffic standpoint that you're getting a lot of people necessarily crossing the Sawmill to get there. So the pylon sign near the Chauncey sign may be better served to set back if on that side of the road, if needed at all. But it's definitely too much information for the corner. And then on this specific graphic on screen, I know you show a Rivertown Square sign on top of the Buddha building, which I assume was just conceptual because that wasn't talked about as part of the presentation, right? That's just there for something that was being considered elsewhere or at a different time. Because
Yes, we actually had the sign you see in front of you or the Buddha. So I think it was one or the other. And I think we chose this one in front of you and we just forgot to delete the other one, if I remember correctly, Jack and Frank.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. So we'll
Just-
we'll remove it off the roof of Buddha.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, for clarity, so that there's no confusion on where that sign would go. But I think it's a successful application and bringing some life to the Rivertown Square and giving it a new, fresh look. I also agree with Ayer that the sidewalk crossing graphics don't really fit in with the overall theme, or what I would consider part of a village shopping center or a place for people to go. I think you could have just a regular crosswalk and it would accomplish the same thing, especially in that area with the traffic that comes by. It could be a distraction, I don't know, but I think it's a little much. So I would recommend against that and the pylon sign at the corner.
Yeah, maybe I'm just saying, if you try to merge the traditional walkways with some fun colors or fun text, you can achieve the same thing without going into the direction of a theme park.
Yeah, I think the writing itself is something we can definitely change it. I think it's just the physical walkway that we want to highlight because of where people are going. So I mean, we are coming back for the murals. We'd love to get everything else accomplished, and being that it's a graphic, if it can be discussed what graphic we utilize, but I think we really want to proceed with putting something there because people are not utilizing it at this time.
Okay, but so there is something that two last comments I just want to bring. You mentioned something at the Berger Ayam area for additional seating, which I think it's a good idea. And not only that, if you add landscaping and additional seating, I think it always works. And I remember some neighbors concerned about safety of the walkways, of the driveways, and just bear in mind, it's not really our purview, but it's important for us to consider that there will be issues of safety that need to be addressed. And with that, I think, unless any neighbors that wants to talk.
Yes, we have one right now. Hold on.
I will ask that neighbors have a long night, so if you can manage to make the comments within 3 minutes, I'll appreciate it.
I hear Paul is on as well, just so you're aware.
Oh, Paul, sorry, I didn't see you in the.
I'll let the neighbor comment first, and then I'll say what I have to say afterwards.
Thank you, Paul.
Lee, can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Well, first of all, I wanted to start by quickly saying, I know the last time we spoke, maybe it's close to 2 months ago, it was shown that there was a sign near the house, and I didn't see it, but I don't know if I could catch it all that quickly tonight. If that sign still exists, and if so, how tall and how distant from the house?
This is Frankie. The sign that you were referring to was on the ground next on the base next to Mom's, and that has been relocated and is now on the second level by the side of Lombardo's and Burger Island. It's where you see it now up on the second level.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how it'll affect our vision from the upstairs or not. I can't determine that from what I see here. So I hope it's not gonna obstruct any views or anything like that. So if you could get us more detail on that, that would be great. And also, I totally agree, and I think I said it 2 months ago about that walk this way. I mean, of all the pictures I've seen of it, the renderings, I still can't grab what all of it says. Like, it's just like a bunch of messy art. And I think if you really want people to be safe and they're to use the crosswalk, it has to be more universal in that it is a crosswalk, that when somebody hits somebody because someone was crossing, that they can have a legal stance for it by a universal crosswalk that is a legal rendering and drawing anywhere you go. It's standardized from a legal standpoint. So I think we should really keep it that way. And I think if they want to have some cartoony type thing, they have that little stanchion of like a little character that sits in the middle of it so that people can't go slamming through it. And that does grab your attention. And I think even at night, they have the ones that have that light. I think we have one near Clinton Avenue, something like that to really alert people. And, you know, when I see a crosswalk like that, I feel safe that I know that people are going to slow down for it. This to me is just art. I didn't even know you guys meant it to be a crosswalk until you mentioned it like 2 months ago. So I think that, you know, what the board says, I think is really correct. So I think as far as, oh, and also like, are there still going to be dumpsters like behind the Lombardos where they are now? Because we keep viewing them so much, seeing dumping garbage all day long. So I was wondering what that's going to be like.
That's not part of this application.
Okay. Well, I thought they were putting tables and chairs for Lombardos. So that's kind of part of it because that's where the dumpsters were supposed to go.
Okay. All right, anybody else and any other neighbors? All right, so Paul.
Thank you, Ayer. I appreciate the proposal, though it's very well thought out. I appreciate the walkthrough that we did a few weeks ago. I still think that the vast majority of everything that you were proposing is great. All the facade treatments and renovations look very tasteful and very, very good. I still think the hotel is a little messy. The first floor, I think it's better than what you had proposed before with the white. I think the white was a little too jarring with the rest of the building as the background for the signs, but I don't think any of the other board members really have too much of an issue with it, so I'll go along with them. I do agree with them about the sign at the corner. The two signs perpendicular to one another is just a little too much, too quickly as you were pulling into the space, but otherwise everything looks really good.
All right, thank you.
Can I say something really fast?
Yes.
This is Christy. I'm from the Board of Trustees. I just wanted to bring up that before you guys come to us with this, should this just get approved now, I just want to make sure, Dan, that you're working with them on what the site plan approval was from back in the day when it was originally approved, and pointing out differences are in the signage and this work that they're doing here to the site plan, so that that's one of the first and foremost things that I know the board is going to have questions on is how is it different, and so that we're considering that in part of the approval.
Yes.
Christy, I lost a few minutes of the last minute of your comments. Technical problem, some phone call that came in. Would you mind repeating it so I take notes?
Yeah, sure. I was just saying that when they come to the Board of Trustees with this, I want to make sure that between them and Dan and the building department, they call out what the differences are in the site plan and what was approved in the signage. So that's going to be one of the first and foremost questions that the board has, and making sure that they're not, contradicting anything that was already worked out previously. So mostly about where all of the logos are, I think, and the
They-
pylons.
Very clear. Yeah, thank you.
They could bubble everything to any changes now on the new plan, so you'll be able to see that also.
So overall, though, I think it looks vastly improved. So thanks, guys.
All right, so now this is.
Thank you, Christy. I just have a quick question. Sorry. Did you mean with regards to anything that's affecting your right of way, or in general with the entire site plan and signage specifically, or square footage? Do you mind elaborating a little bit just so that we can come prepared and have every answer?
I'm mostly talking about the signage,
Okay.
and where they're placed and what was agreed upon, and whether or not they had already discussed putting a pylon up there at the top there and not approved it in the previous site plan for some reason. I just want to make sure that you guys know what you're walking into, and that we know with our building department what was already discussed. And I mean, it's a new decision we're making, but we're going to want to
Right.
know that backstory. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I think if you take that walkway and just package it into the mural thing, right now it's a standalone art piece in the, in the art way of thinking of this. And I think if you wanted it to all marry with one another, then that might be where you can pitch the sidewalk thing. But now I would probably leave it out so that it's not the focus of everything.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, so this is a referral, so I will make a motion that we approve this application for referral, and then we will submit within 2 weeks, I believe, our recommendations. Make sense? Do I have a second? 10 seconds, all in favor? All in favor. So thank you, and we'll be working on this. And the next application of this evening, just grab the, okay, 1 second, is 20 Summit Terrace, Sherry Wicks, second window.
John, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening, all.
Okay,
Hi.
good.
All right, I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, all. My name is John Scavelli. I'm working with Sherry Wiggs on the proposed application at 20 Summit Terrace. We were at the meetings, not the last meeting, but the prior meeting before that. And just to run through a quick summary of the scope of work, it's an existing single-family dwelling where there are some proposed interior renovations, which primarily include a kitchen renovation, some bathroom renovations, as well as some bathroom renovations and bedroom alterations at the lower level of the home, as well as some exterior work, which involves a proposed new deck off the upper level of the home, as well as some updates to the front facade at the front side of the home. And as follow-up to last meeting, I'm just going to jump to the elevation views. So to follow up from the last meeting, I think one of the major comments was regarding the front elevation, where we originally were calling for the existing window to be removed. As part of the revised application, we're proposing a smaller window to be put in place of where the existing window location is. And I just want to pull up a picture of the old kitchen and just show that the issue that, that the homeowner has here. So this is the older kitchen. This is that front window facing the street. And as you can see, it's a very large window, and it's not suited for the size for base cabinets and really working with a functional kitchen. So the proposed application is to actually shrink down this window within the same location so that the new kitchen layout can have adequate wall space and backsplash space. So just jumping back to the drawing. So it's proposed to replace that existing window with a smaller window. And then also the existing brick is proposed to be replaced. Originally, we were proposing a hardy board. In speaking with the owner, we'd like to actually change that proposal to just do a cedar lap siding. The existing house is a cedar shake. So just for the section where the existing brick is, we're proposing actually to have a lap siding and just go with a natural cedar so that the house can actually be stained and have a more uniform look across the front side. And on the back side of the home, we're also proposing this deck at the second story. It is proposed to be a pressure treated deck, but we would provide a cedar tinted stain to that pressure treated deck. And another change from the prior application is originally we were proposing 2 sliding glass doors to this rear deck. Due to some budget and costing restraints, the second set of sliders was switched to a double set of casement windows instead of a slider. So those were the major kind of changes from the prior application. Other than that, the application is following suit to the prior application. So I don't know if there's any further questions.
No, for me, it's very clear. I guess I personally like the cedar lap siding and the contrast with the old siding, which is the existing siding, is fine. The pressure treated, which is stained, is fine. The smaller window, it's in keep, and if you manage to put some, well, let's say that I will encourage to put some landscaping in that area, will be perfectly fine. So I don't have any other issues pending. Any other comments, Brandon, Dale, Paul?
No. I think it's pretty straightforward. No comment.
Yeah, no comments from me either.
All right, so Jennifer, I know that there might be some neighbors.
I don't see anyone. Would anybody like to speak on this application? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hold on.
So again, it's a long evening. If we manage to keep it under 3 minutes, I really appreciate it.
Klaus, can you hear us?
It's actually his wife, Suzanne.
Oh, hi, sorry.
Hi. That's okay. I will try to keep it under 3 minutes. I'm at 13 Summit Terrace next door to this house, and I was looking at the plans and I have a few questions. The first question is, or statement, is that the new windows look significantly different than the other windows and look very stark in comparison. That's just a observation. I don't know if anything can be done about that. The second thing I'd like to say is last meeting, there was talk about these support beams, I think they're called, off of that porch up top being boxed out. I don't know if that was changed or not. I don't have the original to compare it to. They look very thin. The other thing I'd like to say is I still do not see any side elevations. I have no idea what this is going to look like from my house. It's not, I don't see it provided unless I missed it. So I'd like someone to speak about that. And the third thing is I'm sure you're going to say it has nothing to do with you, but that is an awfully large bar and looks more like a kitchen to me. And those are my topics.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you did, but can you please state your name and your address for
I
the
did.
record?
Suzanne,
Okay,
13
never mind, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, so thank you for your comments. I guess the issue of the windows, I don't believe this is a landmark house and they're in keep of the character of the house, so I think it's acceptable to my opinion. On the side elevations, unless the windows are changed, which I didn't see that on the side elevations or anything on the side elevation is changed, we will need to have an elevation.
So yeah, the existing windows on the sides of the home are all existing to remain. The only window changes are proposed at the front side and the rear side of the home.
Right, so basically if there is no change, I will not insist in providing us with a side elevation if there is no change. And as for the two-family concern, we understand it, but it's not our purview. That's for code enforcement. Village is well aware of this, and they will do the routine follow-up. And that's pretty much it, right? The rest is a pretty standard application. And unless any other board member has any other concern or any other neighbor comments, any other neighbors?
We do have another neighbor. Hold on. Julius, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Julius Nudoffer. I am a neighbor directly behind the house. I'm not going to repeat, but yes, last meeting's, differential. I still state as that their existing does not is not supported for what the previous listing shows regarding the number of bathrooms. But nonetheless, as regarding the exterior of the house, since that is the purpose of this, the question of adding a deck with all the extended pillars, I think, is quite unattractive for a lot of reasons. And I also question the need to add a deck on the first floor when there's an existing deck on the second floor on the supposition that there's no attempt to convert this into a two-family house. I'm not going to belabor this. Everyone's time is precious, but I have sent in the original listing as shown by Compass and have of course, let the Board of Trustees, the building department investigate further if they seem to deem fit to do so. I'm sure there are other neighbors who may be listening who may not want to add additional comments, but I believe the neighbors on all sides of the property and as well as several adjacent houses all have the same concerns that I've voiced. Beyond that, I'm not going to belabor that, as well as the fact that, again, it says Sherry Wiggs rather than the legal owner of the house, which is a corporation, and somehow keeps getting avoided as the owner of the house in these conversations. That's my comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments?
The previous resident has her hand raised again.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I know that thank you for answering my questions. But one other comment is that I know when you spoke about the side elevations, you spoke about windows. I'm not concerned about the windows, but what I am concerned about is what that deck is going to look like from a side vantage point, which is my side of that house. And that's why I would like to see the side elevation.
All right, so it's a fair demand. I would okay, so I will make the approval contingent that you supply us with approval, I recommend for approval. I don't have the vote yet. contingent that you supply us with the side elevation that pertains to the new deck, which is, I guess, the appropriate one. Otherwise, I personally don't see a reason for denial, and I don't expect a surprise, but it's fair to ask for a depiction of the side elevation. But I will make a motion to approve.
Ayer, I'm
Yes.
sorry. We have one more person. We have Sherry Wiggs with her hand up.
Okay. Sherry?
Sherry, can you hear us?
Yeah, I just want to ask, and I think you were saying that is, I understand completely to show the side elevation. My architect will do that, but can I get approval that I can at least start ordering windows and kitchen so I can move forward on the rest of the project?
Well, that was I was addressing the same issue with the motion.
Yes, thank you.
A motion to approve the application subject to the applicant provide us with a side elevation showing the new deck. And I would say that the entire application is approved, but the second floor deck until we have the appropriate side elevation.
So we should just continue this, but they could start ordering the windows and stuff.
Do I have, okay, so we amend this motion to continuous application based on what we discussed. Do I have a second? Yeah, Brendan second.
Second, Ayer. Yep.
And all in favor? Thank you. Sherry, is it clear what we requested?
Okay, yes, yep, we will follow up with that.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we move to the next application. Thank you all. Thank you, neighbors. Which is 12 Irving Place. That's Kasper Tokarski.
Casper, can you hear us? Casper?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and now you guys should see me. All right. Can I share the screen?
Casper, can I recommend you to do a quick application on what is changed from the last one? Just focus on the changes because
yes,
this is very clear for everybody.
Sure.
Please go ahead.
Absolutely. So made few changes to the plans. Basically, from the last meeting, we introduced, so first page, no change, second page, no change. We introduced as the board asked for a larger scale site plan. On that site plan, as you can see, there is a sidewalk added from Irving Place and the scale changed. And that was recommended, I think, by Ed, by the inspector. On the elevations, two basically main changes, there is a clarification on the chimney calculation. So we tried to meet the code. So it kind of shows that we met the code. And what we did is we went along with the board suggestion. We widened up the rear roof by about a foot, which we don't want to encroach past the corner. So that was done. On the sky exposure, there was no change. Layout, there is no change. Garage, no change. On the landscaping plan, two changes. As we can see, the light fixture, we looked more carefully into the code, and I think this should comply. And also, there was the comment about the window wells, somebody ultimately fallen in due that they're going to be actually fairly deep, depending on side of the house. So we're proposing to put a grate with the access lids. No change, no change. So there is, I'm sorry, one last change that I'm trying to look for. We actually had prepared a sheet where we show there you go, the garage together with the house on the same elevation, how the garage looks in comparison to the house. And I believe from last meeting, those are all of the changes that we did.
Anybody wants to start? Brandon?
I think the application, I think you've taken a lot of the comments that we had and applied them from a constructability standpoint when you're excavating and for that one window well. I think if you have a way of protecting it, it's good. And I, the only comment that I had in looking through the application was, you are signifying and noting some tree removals that are would be part of a different approval process that would have to undergo from the tree board. But and I know that your driveway is essentially contingent on what is a fairly old and.
Brandon, just let me. The process is that has to still go to the planning board.
Yep.
So for us, it's a recommendation to the planning board, and
okay,
and then it comes back to us for approval. So we don't. Really
no problem. I just know it was noted. So I think you've taken a lot of our comments into account and worked with us to address the sky exposure plane details. So I'm satisfied with the application as it's submitted.
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Dale, Paul.
To me, it looks good. I think it's satisfactory. Again, I agree with Brandon that you've made a lot of changes that I think make your house more attractive, and I appreciate that. I still think a window on facing Irving Place on the second floor would be nice, just for the attractiveness of the overall house facing the street. But I don't think that that's something that is absolutely necessary. But looks good. Nice looking house.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I agree with my fellow board members. I think you've accomplished all of the things that were requested, and I think that it's genuinely improved with work, and we thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
All right. My turn is basically the same things that we've been repeating. The two issues, I will really encourage you to do a second floor window on Irving Place. But eventually, it's a we will call it a gentle suggestion. The second comment I will have to recommend you to do is change the proportion of the windows on the small addition, but also not that important. The proportion more might keep to the other house. They seem like little squat windows. So if you change a little the proportions, I'm not saying change the no windows. Just change the proportion for windows. Now that you see one next to the other, try to communicate. That is a minor comment. The only comment, major comment that we have, by the way, is thank you for the porch in the backyard. Now it looks great. Thank you for protecting the well. Thank you, and then thank you also when you come to approval. If you show us what kind of rail will be appreciated. And the last thing is just conceptually killing a 20-inch tree, maple tree that gives character to the entire street in favor of a two-car garage that is not a two-car garage because it's a one-car garage, but a major driveway. It hurts. So it's a tree that will be missing the street in favor of a big driveway. You're going to have a beautiful house. You deserve a beautiful street as well. So those are the main comments. We'll send our comments to the planning board and see how they deal with this. Okay.
So this comes back to us after planning?
planning gets
Yes.
approval and then we vote.
Gotcha.
Okay, so is this a continuation then?
Yes.
Okay, so
Casper,
Yes,
you,
then I lost your whole sentence. Hello?
Dan's frozen.
Oh, it was frozen. I lost everything that Dan said.
Dan's there.
yeah, there I am.
There you go.
Casper, you'll renotice before you come back.
Can you say again? I still have an issue hearing you.
Casper, you'll have to do renotice the neighbors before you come back because you were off the agenda 3 times.
Oh, renotice the neighbors. Okay.
Yes.
Certified
Bef-
letters.
When you come back for the approval.
Okay, so now we have to go in front of the planning board, right? And based
Right.
on what the planning board says, then we come back to you. And
Correct.
we have to send notifications to all of the neighbors.
Correct.
Okay, we will.
All right.
so I motion to continue. Any neighbors, any, Jen? No. So I motion.
No neighbors.
I motion to continue into the next one, this application. Second,
Second.
all seconds, all in favor. Thank you, Casper. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next one on the agenda is 16 Cedar Street awning pictures.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, 16 Cedar Street. This is Myra from the sign company. It's just we're proposing an existing awning recover. It's a new business. It's Mexican restaurant, and we just want to change the color also. White writing. Very simple.
I don't have any objections. Dale, Brandon, Paul.
No objections.
It's a good looking awning. Good luck.
No objections.
I'll make a motion to approve this awning as submitted. Second. Paul seconds. All in favor. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next one on the agenda is 41 Hilldale Road.
Can you hear us?
I'm sorry, I just got rebooted. Ed Marin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Share screen, get on the screen. Okay. So we are proposing to replace an existing deck in the rear of 41 Hilldale Road, the Levine residence. We are replacing the deck exactly the same size and exactly the same location, exactly at the same height. We are making 2 changes. One change is we're changing from pressure treated lumber to a Trex Transcend, lava rock color. And the second, we are lowering the handrail from 42 inches to 36 inches.
Ed, are you showing any images? Because we only see a screen.
You don't see my screen.
I see your what's the
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you see it now?
no.
You can see your file folder.
Yeah, it's showing the file, not the.
Hang on. I minimized that too.
Desktop screen.
If you unshare and try sharing again and just share desktop.
That's what I am trying to do. I can't even unshare at this point. There we go. It's up there.
No.
I'm going to resume share. No, that's out. We want that out. Screen sharing is stopped. Okay. Share screen. Can you see it now?
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Sorry for the troubles. So basically the deck stays the same location, same height. So we had a problem with the handrail. The handrail didn't meet code. It had openings of 9 inches in between the rails. So we are lowering the rail to a code height of 36 inches, and we are squeezing the openings down to less than 4 inches. The reason we're keeping the railing the same is the front railing still is 42 inches and has the slats in the same pattern. So it'll just be brought down lower in the rear. This deck can't be seen from the neighbors. From the road, can't see it. From the driveway, it's back here in this corner. Up the steps, you can see just the steps here. This is from the front of the house. And this is the deck we're replacing. So you can see the gap here is just not acceptable to code, but it is a 42-inch deck. So we'll have the same amount of boards. We'll just lower the gaps to less than 4 inches. And this is just another view. And underneath the deck, you can see it was they sistered existing cantilever joists a long time ago, and it's just not framed well, and the footings are kicking. So it needs a total rebuild.
Okay, I think it's a clear application.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Questions, comments? All right, Paul.
No questions.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second, AHR.
Brendan seconds. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Next one on this meeting is 26 Hatch Terrace. Anybody for 26 Hatch Terrace?
Yeah, I just promoted both of them. Niall Kane and Neil Whitehouse.
How do I get my video going? Video, here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, whoops. Okay, here I am. Share screen. PowerPoint. Got it. Okay, so this is a application at 26 Hatch Terrace, and the site map here. It's right behind the keeper's house on the Aqueduct Trail. It's a multifamily house. You can see existing is metal siding, 2 different types of metal siding. And there's sort of metal cladding on the columns here, which we're going to change. And we're proposing to change these 3 windows in the front. This is the side elevation. Whoops. Wait a minute, I forgot to start the slideshow. That's better. So we're making some alterations here. We're proposing a new railing on the garage. And we're going to be we're proposing alterations here, putting a canopy, a new entrance door, and fixing this canopy here. There's the back elevation, and this is just context. There's the house to the side, each side, across the street, down the street. This is the keeper's house. And again, this is just, I'm showing the detail just because that's where we're going to do some work. This is the proposed elevation. Again, we have new hardy plank siding, lap siding. All the windows are sort of the typical Anderson type with a little flange. So we're going to put new casing around the windows, just flat casing around the windows. These are the 3 new windows, French casement windows. These 3 here. And then we're redoing the columns. We're adding some additional detail. And you can see here, this is the new entrance. There's the canopy with some brackets, a nice new door, new railings. We're putting some new bluestone paving and treads on the existing stair. And you can see here, this is the posts, the newel posts here, or the railing posts rather, and this is the railing. And this shows a little detail detail of the column cladding, just putting some nice moldings on it and so forth to make it a little bit nicer, probably more like it was in the originally, although this was originally an open porch area here. This just shows the little plan of the entrance, which is really the only plan needed in terms of documentation, is showing the canopy and the structure and so forth. And then we have this new little canopy just on the side here, just tying it into the existing roof at the bay window there. This shows a detail of the canopy. Whoops. Brackets that are pre-manufactured wood brackets. And then we're putting we have a new louver at the top. And I don't know if you saw in the back, there's a little, or in the front rather, this little oculus window in the front. Other than that, that's about it. This is the lap siding detail, and this is just to show the way we're anticipating painting it with some light gray tones. This is the front door. This is the light above at the canopy, and that's the bracket that we're proposing for the entrance and the side entrance. This is the Weather Shield Premium Series casement, and just a little section of the actual window as proposed. One of them, but they're similar. Oops, I guess I did fail to mention there was also a new sliding door on the side here. Whoops, damn it. Sorry. New sliding door on the side that leads out to the, it's bouncing around so much here, onto the top of the garage. And again, this is the new railing at the garage. And that is, I have a little, anything else? No. That is it.
Thank you, Niall. Very clear presentation, very well put together package. Looks good to me. Looks great to me, actually. Improvement to the house.
Forward.
I don't have any comments beyond. That's a very clear application. Dale, Brandon.
I just have a quick question on sheet number 201.
Yeah.
Upper top level left window.
Oh.
All the way up. The third level. The left window. Why is that one different than the other three? These
are all existing windows. Actually,
okay.
the only thing we're doing is removing this window here. It's hardly worth showing. So everything is just
okay. All right.
Yeah. The only new ones are the ones in the front. The ones with the little tags on them are the proposed windows. The other ones.
I see. All right.
Other than the fact that we're putting casing around it, I should say, we're putting the flat casing.
Is the benefit of
okay.
this.
My error.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a straightforward application, and I think although the south elevation isn't necessarily seen from a lot of different angles, I think we're treating the roof and the entries and the roof line that's there is a great improvement to what that looks like as you walk up to those entrances. So
yeah, well, that was the main focus, really.
Yeah, so I think it accomplishes that. So it's straightforward for me.
Yeah, it looks good. The house looks like it needs TLC, and that's what you're doing, and appreciate it.
Okay.
Any neighbors? Okay, so I make a motion that we approve as submitted. Who seconded? 2 seconds. 10 seconds. In favor. Thank you, Niall. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 26 Ashford Avenue.
Frank, can you hear us? Frank? Hold on, there's one more person that's raising their hand. Maybe they're the other person.
Why don't we move to 35?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Is there somebody else presenting with you? Because somebody
Yes.
that's V276407 raised their hand.
Oh, that's probably someone from Verizon that's on. That's probably listening in, and when I wasn't chiming in, you probably jumped in.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna change that.
I will, I don't know, you've all seen the application. Verizon's putting in a generator in their basement, and we need air access, and we're coming up through the floor on the first floor. There are 2 windows on the first floor, and if I'll try to share my screen, and I'll show you where the windows are.
Basically, what I understand is the windows will be replaced by louvers, correct?
Yes, the windows are going to be replaced by louvers. Well, let me see.
So 2 windows that will remain in the same rough opening and replaced by louvers.
Yes, are you seeing what I'm putting up on the screen?
Not yet. That is a shared screen.
Yeah, so the window openings are staying the same. I don't know why it's not coming up. No?
There it is.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
No.
you can't see it.
Now it's just your desktop.
It's the other desktop. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the 2 windows. It's on the corner of, it's on Ashford and Bellwood. So one window is on Bellwood over here. The other one's on Ashford. And basically we're putting in a louver that's similar to this one. This one's on the other side of the building. And that's about the size of it. If you notice these windows on the first floor, there's a screen over the window. It's a security screen. We're going to leave the security screens over the louvers. So basically, if you drive past, you probably won't even notice that there's not a window in there because you know the screen kind of blocks out the window. So that's about the size of the whole thing. Any questions?
So the window is on Ashford Avenue, correct?
What? There's 2 windows. One's on Ashford, and it's the same corner. Is on, what's the other street? Bellwood. Oh, actually, I could show you something else. Let me see. How about this one? Here, how about that one? So it's a win. You see the 2 windows there?
Okay. It's Dale, Brandon, Paul.
I don't think anybody's going to care about the louvers. I think they'll care more about the location of the portable generator that sits.
So let me tell you about the portable generator. So we're hoping to have a 3 months of construction. They run a test for 15 minutes a week. As long as it's not a power outage, they don't run the generator. The generator is basically there to charge their batteries, which carries your 911 and your phone service.
Yep.
So the location of it, because it's a big generator, I mean, the portable engine's 250 kW, the cables to bring it around from even the parking lot, and I'm not even sure the parking lot's a better location for that. It's a roll-up generator. I don't know if maybe I can.
Yeah, no, I get that it's necessary for performing the work.
So
as long as it's only temporary for the period of time during the construction, I don't think it's an issue.
It's absolutely only temporary, and hopefully there's no power outages and you'll just hear this thing, you know. And by the way, it really isn't that loud at the property line. It's like 60 dBs at the property line. So it's really not going to be that loud.
Thank you, Brandon, for your comments. Dale, Paul?
No comment.
No comment from me. No.
Just, this is a nice building. on Ashford that eventually will be brought to life to a normal use, not as,
Why, you think you're getting rid of all the phone company equipment in the building?
eventually will all be wireless without the need of.
They do the wireless too, believe it or not. They bring the wireless into that building. So there's a lot more communication companies than Verizon in that building.
So basically, I don't think there is a major change in aesthetics of the building. We hope eventually that in our lifetime we'll see this type of building with a real use, real cornice, and real restoration. But I don't have any objections, so I'll approve it as submitted. Do I have a second? Seconds, Brandon. Favor. Okay. Favor? All in favor. Thank you so much. And the last item on this agenda is 35 Riverside Place.
Jen, that'll be Bradley.
I thought Bill William Crawford?
Yes, at his house and Patty.
Okay.
Bradley.
And
Patty
Bradley.
is here,
Okay,
Bill is
sorry,
here,
guys.
Bradley has the presentation. He's going to put it up on the screen and wow you all with the amazing window changes. I'm being facetious. They're very simple.
Patty, why don't you make it short and sweet?
Bradley's going to do that.
Okay. Bradley.
Bradley, you have to unmute yourself.
I am unmuted.
Yep. You are now unmuted. So tell
All
them
right.
what you're proposing.
All right, so let me share my screen. All right. Do you guys see that or no?
No.
Yeah, we do. I'm seeing your
folder.
yeah. So click on the folder and open it up.
I have done that already, but I'll go back. That's not it either. Got it on my screen. This is what you see?
Yeah, I'm seeing
Yep.
Crawford July 27 PDF.
All right. So I just opened it. You still don't see it?
Nope.
No.
Did you push share screen? Well, yeah, I guess you did.
I did because yeah.
I'd suggest unsharing and then resharing to select either the
Wait.
file or your
Different monitor.
desktop. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. Now you see my folder?
Yep.
We're good?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So let me get rid of that.
Yep.
And we'll just cut right to the chase.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk all about all my paving things.
No, I was saying, Patty doesn't exactly know how to keep it simple with, providing,
Don't be too.
providing 50 slides where we need 2.
Okay.
So this is what was approved. So there were no changes to the north elevation, which is the front elevation on the street. On the west elevation, which is as you walk down the side, which is where the new entrance is proposed, which there's no changes to that. This window has gotten a little bit smaller and these windows have gotten a little bit taller. So this is what was approved. And this is what is proposed. So this window is in there, it's in their shower and you do walk past it to get to their door. So they made the decision they'd rather have that be a smaller window. And these windows facing the river, they made a little bit taller.
Any other changes?
All right, so those are then, and the other changes are as we go to the rear elevation. We had proposed a double twin casement, which was over the kitchen, the new kitchen sink. They actually preferred to have additional cabinet space. They felt that took away too much of the room in the kitchen for cabinets. So they put in a single double hung, which will be over the kitchen sink.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
And the final change is on the last elevation. There were there was a twin double hung, which they have decided to change to a twin casement, which enables it to meet egress and so sort of completes the window replacement for the lower level.
Good enough. Next time we can bubble and make it life easier and faster for approval. Any comments, Brandon, Dale, Paul?
No comment.
No comment.
I make a motion that we approve the application as submitted with changes. Second. Dale seconds. Favor. Thank you. That's the last application on tonight's meeting. So I make a motion that adjourn tonight's meeting. We have a second.
Second.
All seconds, all in favor. Thank you all.